Hello everybody. In today's video, we're going to be replacing our temporary bridge on our newly configured layout for a more permanent bridge. So what we're going to do is create a bridge made of a couple pieces of angle iron and then span that angle iron with some kind of to scale planks to kind of emulate a trestle type of bridge. So what we want to do first is we want to cut a couple pieces of angle iron to the span that we're trying to cross. So in this case here, the span is 21 inches. So we're going to cut a couple pieces of angle iron to begin with at 21 inches each, and then we'll place them on the layout here and measure them for width so that it allows for two pieces of HO track side by side to cross over. So let's start by cutting our angle iron. Okay, so we went over to Home Depot and bought this 4-foot length of angle iron that you see clamped here in the vise. And so we're going to take our reciprocating saw and we're going to cut two pieces each at 21 inches. So let's get to cutting. Okay, there's one piece, and let's get the second piece cut. Okay, for the last step in our angle iron prep for the bridge construction, we're going to paint it. And we decided to paint it in this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Satin Hunt Club Green. So this is a flat green, and it should look pretty good on the bridge. So we've already given it a couple of coats, and we're going to give it another coat right now. So to make the decking for our bridge that will kind of look like planks going down the length of the bridge, I had this scrap oak lying around. So we basically took one of those boards and we cut it into strips like so, and then we'll just lie them flat and we'll scale them down a little bit by maybe cutting them a little bit more in the bandsaw. But we're going to cut them to length so that they're the length of the planks that we need, and then we'll just kind of fine-tune them to hopefully get them as close to scale for the HO layout as we can. It's not going to be exactly to scale, I don't think, but I think it'll be a nice effect having that decking in that angle iron sides for the bridge. So now that we've cut the strips, the next step is to cut them to length, and then we might also do just one more cut with these in half, and we'll just do that on the bandsaw. It's a lot quieter. All right. So with the strips cut, we just wanted to show you the effect that we're going for our bridge. So this would be the steel sides of the bridge right here. And then we have our strips cut here. We're probably going to strip these and cut these in half again on the bandsaw again, just to kind of scale them down so they look a little HO-ish scale. It's probably not going to be exact, but I think the effect will be there. And then we'll glue them all together so that they form one board again, and we'll put it down into the bridge, and then we'll attach the bridge to the railroad. Okay, so as you can see here, our bridge is starting to take shape here with all the little pieces of wood. It looks kind of like a little, like a trestle kind of deck there, I think. So what we did was we did make a couple of minor adjustments. When we cut our little pieces of wood to length initially on the table saw, what we did was we wanted to have more height on the sides of the bridges. So what we did was we ripped the each individual piece. We just ripped a little bit off of it so that it then became that. Those are two pieces there, but you know, this is well, I'll just hold up one here. So the thickness here, you can see we kind of thinned it out, so that kind of lowered the height of the blocks here, so you could see more of the bridge sides. And then what we did was we took each individual piece and then ripped it in half, like so. So this would be a whole piece, and then we just ripped it right down the middle, basically splitting this in half and creating two pieces of decking, which then we laid in there. And even though I don't think that's really true HO scale as far as lumber goes, it still, I think, you know, kind of gives the illusion of planking on a bridge. So yeah. So that's where we're at right now. Our next step will be to glue all of these together so that they're one unit, because we don't want to put the bridge in there and just lay those pieces down individually. We want them held together somehow. So we'll glue these from the underside. We'll put like a little spline across the bottom of it, and we'll glue the pieces to that spline, and then that'll hold them all together, and then we'll just lay the whole thing inside the bridge and attach the bridge to the layout. Okay, with all of the individual planks cut, we want to glue them together so that they kind of function as a unit, and they're not going to be sitting in the angle irons as individual pieces of planking. So what we've done here is we've cut a couple of probably splines is probably the best way to describe it, but a couple pieces of wood to glue right along and hold all of these planks together as a unit. And then we can just set that whole unit right in the angle irons as the bridge, and we're ready to go. So you're looking at the bottom of the bridge here. So with these pieces cut, there was a smooth side, and then the bandsaw kind of created a rough side. So the rough side is facing up so that the smooth side is flat against the table here. So that should all be nice and level on the top side. And then the bottom will be a little rough, but you won't even see that. And then we have this piece of wood right here clamped so that everything can be like right against a nice straight edge there, so we know everything should be nice and square when the glue is dried. So we'll check back in a little while when the glue is dried. We'll trim off these little ends here. And yeah, so we're getting closer to setting it into the layout. So we've removed our temporary bridge, and we're just about to do the final assembly of getting our new bridge down. So we're going to use these same shelves that we had created for the temporary bridge. They're not pretty. They're just made of some scrap 1/4-inch luan that we had lying around. And if you remember, they're screwed from our layout video. They're just screwed from below here into the plywood. Now our bridge, because it's going to sit on these shelves, the bridge sits a little low. So the deck of the bridge, doesn't really quite come up to grade here on the layout. So what we're going to do, or what we did, was we took a couple pieces of the scrap oak that we used to make the planking, and we stacked a few, glued it together, and what we'll end up doing is putting these here. We have them numbered because the height is just right for the thickness. We're going to put those here. And there's another one for here. And another one for here. And we'll glue those down. The glue will hold that just fine. And then this will bring the deck of the bridge right up level with the plywood. And then we'll screw the bridge right down through into our little shims there. And then everything will be held in place nice, and everything will be nice and level. And yeah, so it'll be good. So we're going to go ahead and glue those, and then we'll be back to do the final bridge assembly. We've glued our shims onto the luan shelf, so we'll go ahead and take these clamps off. And you'll notice here that the glue is still a little bit wet, but wood glue, once it sets, it's not going anywhere. So we're going to go ahead and set our bridge on there, and then we're going to screw it down. So the first thing we'll do is we'll lay our girders here, or our angle irons, over the shims, and then we'll put our deck on. And as you can see here, the gluing it, we just kind of splined, glued 2 splines on here just to keep all the planks together so we can move it as a unit and we don't have to worry about the individual planks. And we'll go ahead and set it here. Oh, and we pre-drilled some holes here so that we can screw the deck down through the steel. There's holes in the steel too, and then we'll just screw it right into those shims. And it should hold everything in place nice. Okay. I think that's good right there. Oops. Okay, so that looks like it's sitting nice. So we're going to go ahead and pre-drill some holes through here into the shim, because those are little pieces of oak and that's really difficult to just drive a screw through. So we're going to pre-drill it, and then we'll screw everything down. Okay, now we're just going to zip the screws in. Good. We don't want to put too much stress on the little planks of wood, so we're just going to put the screws down just until they touch and hold everything firmly. We might even back these off a little bit. With the bridge all secured, all we have to do now is replace the track and take it for a test run. Okay, so there you have it. This sort of steel girder bridge with plank decking that was made from about $24 worth of angle iron from Home Depot and just some other scraps lying around the house. So not too bad. I think it's going to last a while. The angle iron construction, you might consider that a little bit overkill, but honestly, it was the shape that was right as far as holding up the deck and all that. Also, the angle iron was really easy to work with, just in case you were curious. I think we made our cuts in the angle iron probably a minute and a half to cut through, cutting the two 21-inch lengths. So that was super easy. If you have a set of titanium bits, the holes that we drilled in the angle iron just went right through. Probably took us a minute and a half for that too, to drill through that. And then grinding the burrs off and kind of rounding off the edges, probably another 10-15 minutes. So yeah, I think we got a pretty good product here for fairly short effort, and yeah, good. So we'll see you in the next video.